High-stakes showdown in Congress, and Majority Leader Eric Cantor just burst through the swinging saloon doors to call out 4 endangered Senate Democrats by name, asking whether they'll stand with him in trying to defund Obamacare or face the consequences.
I want to know where Senator Pryor stands on protecting the middle class. How about Kay Hagan in North Carolina? Mary Landrieu of Louisiana? What about Mark Begich of Alaska?
Let's bring in our political panel. Senior writer for the Washington Examiner, Philip Klein, CNN chief political analyst, Gloria Borger, and syndicated columnist for the Chicago Tribune, Clarence Page. Before we get to the discussion, Gloria, just a quick translation for people who aren't familiar with the names of all the senators, like dorks, such as the 4 of us are. What is the significance of naming Pryor, you accepted, me, Philip, and Clarence, Pryor, Kagan, Landrieu, Begich? What do they all have in common?
Is that a trick question? Because how about 2014?
They're all for re-election.
Did I win? 2014,
and?
Up for re-election. Conservative states.
Yes.
Endangered species.
Nice. That's
it. Is that good?
That's all I wanted. That's all I wanted. So, Philip, I want to start with you. 51% of Americans say they're going to blame House Republicans if the government shuts down. Is this a good idea, what House Republicans are doing right now? Forgetting whether or not Obamacare should be law, which it is, this as a political ploy. Do you think it's smart?
Well, look, I mean, you just played the clips of Eric Cantor, and a big reason why he's majority leader is because of Obamacare and the reaction against that in 2010. I think the problem is that now, because all the focus is on government shutdown or not, it's distracting from a lot of the really bad news that we have about Obamacare. Just this week, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services came out and they said Obamacare is going to increase healthcare spending by over $600 billion relative to what would have been the status quo beforehand.
Also, you had the news from Trader Joe's and others, people who are taking drastic measures with their employees' health care plans.
Yeah, and today the Wall Street Journal reported that the exchanges aren't even ready. They're having problems with glitches. Yeah. Just the latest glitch is that they don't know how to give out the prices of people's health care plans.
So why not make that argument? Instead of the government shutdown.
I mean, and why aren't they, Clarence? Why aren't they?
No, they are. Nobody's listening. This is the problem. A lot of the reasons why the exchanges are having troubles because Republicans in Congress are sending demands for paperwork and other various gimmicks.
That's ridiculous. I mean, we've known for years
it's
that there's going to be problems.
You know it's a fact. You know it's a fact.
I know that the fact is.
Yes, and we also, I'm old enough to remember Medicare. When it came in, there were problems with Medicare, too. Obama and Biden have said all along there were going to be problems. That's what we're seeing. And also, Trader Joe's is not necessarily a bad thing. We don't know what the consequences
would be like Orbitz
don't talk
or
while I'm interrupting. Trader Joe's, for example, we don't know whether it's going to be good or bad because the fact is that's a private exchange. That's really the way a lot of businesses were going anyway. And we're going to find out after it's in operation.
I was just going to say is what Obama was saying was that we'd have a exchange that would be like Orbitz or Expedia. Imagine if you went on Orbitz and Expedia and they couldn't tell you what the price of the airline was. And this is going to happen. This is going to go live in a week and a half. So this is what we're talking about.
But the reason Republicans are doing this are not because of the reasons you're listing, which are substantive. The reasons they're doing this is that they went home this summer and they got pummeled in their home districts by conservative Republican ads, pummeling them for not taking on Obamacare more directly, and they're afraid of being primaried on the right. So lots of these people are saying, okay, we have to take this stand, or by the way, it's going to hurt us back home because we're going to face tough races.
And also,
so that's why they're doing it.
If I could just say, it's also not just that. There are employers who have been expressing concern about this.
Yes.
And that's the reason why President Obama delayed the employer mandate by an extra year.
But the reason they're making this particular fight right now is they decided to attach it to this important piece of legislation to get the notice so nobody can say to them, you haven't tried to really get rid of Obamacare.
Let's play some sound from President Obama today talking about this fight.
Republicans in Congress, they've tried to repeal or sabotage this more than 40 times. They've had these repeal votes. Every time they fail. This law that is in place is already providing people benefits. It's not holding back economic growth. It's helping millions of Americans.
Gloria, do you think that President Obama is succeeding in this fight, or is it just the Republicans are hurting themselves, or what's your take?
In the short term, I think he's okay in the short because he's talking to independent voters out there who have questions about Obamacare, but they don't want to shut down the government. So I think he's doing fine right now. I think the short term Republicans could lose on this one. I think they have a decision to make. Do they want to be a presidential party and win independent voters, or do they want to be a congressional party and win in conservative Republican districts?
Clarence, you will grant that some of the substantive complaints or issues that we've discussed on this table are real and need to be resolved.
Right. Right.
President
but my
Obama
colleagues are also
speaks.
correct. That's not why Republicans in the House are voting this way.
Fair point. The question that I have is, President Obama acts as if nothing to see here, everything's fine.
Right.
That's right, and I disagree with that strategy. He believes that once this is in operation, people are going to like it. And I think he's right in the long run, but in the short run, he's getting pummeled daily by something that LBJ didn't have in the Medicare days, and that is cable TV, the internet, all these other media. There are anti-Obama campaigns going on, like the anti-Obama presidential campaign, and he's not really speaking up, or people at the state level. And this is a state issue. Let me just say quickly, in states that are run by Democrats that are pro-Obamacare, it's working very well. New York, California, Illinois, et cetera.
Oh, yeah, well, Oregon, which is pro-Obamacare, had a delayed exchange. So it's
well, that's a good thing, though, they're delaying.
We'll end it on that
That's
note.
a good thing. That's not a bad thing.
We're not going to resolve Obamacare right now at this